Hello, my name is Leah McDowell and I am the Art and Production Director at Floris Books. We're a book publisher based in Edinburgh. We do kids books and some adult non-fiction, and it's my job to make books look good. The design department in a publishing house works in the middle of the editorial team and the sales and marketing team. So when a book comes to a publisher, the editorial team are the ones that get it first, and they make the words really great, and then they pass it over to the design team, and it's our job to make the books look and feel the way they do before the print book goes to the marketing team and they sell it on to all of the readers. We kind of visualise the personality of a book and make it visible for readers to see. For example, if we were doing a novel about a really magical story, we would want to make it look really luminous and exciting and maybe some sparkles and things like that. We just want the personality of the book to be really clear. A day in the life of a designer is very varied because even though you might be doing the same kinds of jobs, you're working across loads of different types of books and different types of stories, so it's always really different. So even if I'm designing cover designs all day, I'll be doing it for 10 different types of books. I also talk a lot. Communication is really important when you work in design. I talk to editorial to find out what a book is about. I talk to marketing to find out what the readers like that we're going to be selling the book to. I talk to illustrators to tell them what kind of things that I'd like them to draw in the project that they're working on. So being able to communicate and socialise with other people is really important. My favourite part of my job is getting to work with really talented artists and freelance illustrators. So as a designer, I'll come up with an idea of how the book should look in order to appeal to the readers. And it's my job to communicate that effectively to a freelance artist or illustrator. And what's really cool about that is that I'll have a general idea, but then I'll communicate that to the freelancer and they'll take it away, do some research, kind of bring all of their skills and knowledge and excellent talent to it, and they'll come back with something that's completely mind-blowingly awesome that is more than I could have ever achieved on my own. For example, The Nowhere Emporium is a really cool book by Ross Mackenzie, and for the cover design I figured that we could do something that showed the front of the emporium that the book is set in Glasgow, and then you can see a little die cut hole here. Thought it could be like the front door of the emporium opening up, and inside you see all of the wonders of the emporium. So I communicated this to the illustrator Manuel Zumbarak, and he went away and totally let loose all of his imagination. This was another favourite project of mine to work on with Kate Leeper, who's a really talented illustrator and artist. It was a book by Teresa Breslin, and it's the third in a series of books about illustrated folk and fairy tales from Scotland. This one was about Scottish castle legends, and we knew that the character that was going to be on the front cover was a monster from Dunvegan Castle, which is a castle on the island of Skye. I told Kate, the illustrator, that this was going to be the monster on the cover and she needed to go away and do some character design. She did some research. She knew from the story that Dunvegan is very close to the sea, so a monster that would live under a castle like that would probably be kind of like an amphibian. So she went and did loads of research into exotic fish and amphibians and reptiles, and she came back with this character design. She did a really great job and I loved working on it with her. So if I was to give advice to someone who wanted to do a job like mine in publishing, I would say that you need to really love art and creative projects. You don't need to be the best in your class, you don't need to be the best artist that ever lived, you just need to really love it and have that passion, and it's that passion that will get you through all of the training that you need to do in order to achieve the goal of a job like this. A lot of people would tend to start out by going to art college and studying something like illustration or visual communication, but not everyone needs to go to college if that's not what you're interested in. You could pursue placements perhaps instead. You could get a work placement maybe at a book printer, which would be a really good way to see how books are physically made, which is a big part of your design knowledge. You could get a placement in a design studio, maybe in a big retail firm, Topshop and Tesco's and things like that. They all have design studios, so you could get a placement there. That would be a really great way to learn. One thing I would always recommend to people who want to learn more about a certain industry is to do some personal projects. These are projects that the boundaries and limits are set by you, so you can set yourself a design brief of maybe designing your favourite film poster. So you have a favourite film, you don't really like the poster, just redesign it. Maybe set yourself some limits, like you can only design it using collage, or maybe redesign the artwork for your favourite album but only use 3 colours. You can look to things like your favourite video games, books, hobbies to kind of inspire these personal projects. And because you're really genuinely interested in them, you'll spend a lot of time on them and a lot of energy, and you'll create some really great work, and you'll learn lots about design along the way. Every single book has a designer. So there's a whole team of people that put in loads of effort into every single book that you can buy in a bookshop. And every single book has a designer that thinks about all of the different elements of its visual presence. There's loads of jobs out there in design and publishing. And even if publishing isn't what you're interested in, design is a great way to work in loads of different industries, because designers are important all over the world in all different kinds of industries.